And we are recording with Mr. Charles Smith on Thursday, July 27th, 2023 at 4:05 p.m. Eastern Time. Your blog of Two Minds will be in the description. You've been on here several times before, and I was just telling you beforehand that I've had some sort of virus for a couple days or so. I don't know what it is. And it's either a bug or it's just the newest gain of function bioweapon that they're trying to use to kill off the population or whatever the hell they're up to. Um, oh, speaking of, what do you think about that testimony yesterday about the UFOs and the U.S. government being in possession of living biologic non-human creatures? My first gut reflex is they're fucking lying. What are they distracting us from? What justification will this be used for to increase defense spending? That's just that's my general gut reaction to those three things. Is my If they come out and say there are more mosquitoes this year than usual, I'll be like, that's a lie. Why are they saying this? And which defense contractor is going to get the new mosquito repellent contract?
That's right. Yeah, no, your line of thinking is absolutely spot on.
Yeah.
And I wrote a piece yesterday that said I keep changing the channels, but the program stays the same.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of fits in with that theme. Like, you just described a template that you can apply to any news. So it was like, what was the most recent example? The Biden scandal heated up briefly, and then there was some big news item that dominated the news and pushed everything aside, and then that vanished a few days later.
Yeah.
So yeah, that template is the thing, and it's funny that we still fall for it. But let's about the UFOs. My first reading on the UFOs was back when I was a kid. I read this book that came out in the late 60s, I think, or mid 60s called Incident at Exeter. And it was about a UFO encounter with a bunch of normal people who we would say, hey, that guy's just a normal person. They're trustworthy. And of course, they were completely dissed and marginalized by the establishment. And yet that really impressed me because it's like, why would these people lie? They didn't know each other. They didn't know somebody else had seen it. Why would they create this fantasy? What benefit would it be for them? I understand lying, as you say. There's always a benefit to the liar, right? So what's the benefit of kind of normal people saying, I saw this weird thing and no, it wasn't swamp gas?
Yeah.
And so now, after 50 some years or 60, 70, 80, pick your time zone, now it's suddenly okay to talk about it. And now we get the tapes of Navy pilots going, holy moly, what is that thing? It's moving at Mach 4 or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the setup?
The setup's either, on one hand, you want to go fake alien invasion, right? Because that's a massive defense. I mean, that's always been hypothesized, right? Project
Yeah.
Bluebeam, before you could, kind of bring all the world's governments into one giant fascist gangbang of the populace. That's one way to look at it. Another way would be like, as we're so very clearly gearing up for World War III, like we need to, we're gonna try to launder whatever technology that we're going to be putting on display, right? Because we're taking a break from our normal thing of bombing farmers, right? We did that for 20 years in Iraq. We did it for 10 years in Vietnam, right? For the first time, we have a near peer competitor, China and Russia. And so we're going to be taking out the good toys. And we it's just going to be such wild shit that they're going to want to either you're going to want to say it's aliens and not ours, or you're going to have some reason to explain to people why you can't afford groceries and a tank of gas, but we've got this thing made out of liquid titanium that can go Mach 90. There's going to be like, hey, how why do the public schools suck? And why do when we start taking out the the orbital kinetic strike system that is going to so clearly have a price tag of like $100 trillion, and we're going to find out it's been up there for 2 decades. People are going to fuck that come from, right? And they're going to be like, it's the classified alien tech, right? Or we're going to have weapon systems that are so just spitting in the face of treaties that like no one's gonna believe. Like we're gonna pull out some space shit, and no one's gonna believe that we just, China's gonna invade Taiwan, and a month later we're gonna display like a fleet of shit we have in orbit. No one's gonna believe that we built it in a month, and eventually it's gonna lead to the conclusion of like, how long has that been up there? I'm like, well, I thought you signed this outer space treaty. We're gonna need a reason for it, and we're gonna be like, well, there's also the extraterrestrial threat. And so we've been doing this since the 60s or something. Like it's so clearly, it's like when you've destroyed something in your house as a kid and you go to your parents and you're like, my brother, I don't, Kevin, Kevin was being an ass to me. And like your dad puts down the paper and he's like, what happened? And you're like, he punched me for no reason. And you're like, what did you break? God damn it. Like, that's what it is. They're coming out and they're like, aliens are real and we have possession of them. It's just like, God damn it. When are you nuking Shanghai? Like, how many Americans are going to die in the next false flag? Like, let's just get it on. Like, okay, something bad's happened. They're walking it out. They're like, the aliens are, and it's like, God, all right, tell me why we need to fucking blow up the moon. That's my 2 cents on it. Like, this is this is the biggest laundering card. Laundering money, laundering reasons for why they need to strip away all of your civil liberties. Like, all right. And they have now broached the topic. You've walked into the living room and your mom and dad are watching TV and you go, Kevin was being really mean today. Like that has already happened now. The kid has walked into the living room. We are now past the point of no return. Dad's muted the TV and your voice is shaking. You're like, and I love you guys, but like this is what's happened, right? This is what's happened. So that's kind of my, like when I got arrested when I was 17, you had to call my parents at 3 a.m. because the cops said if they came and picked me up, then I wouldn't be arrested. Like calling your parents at 3 a.m., like you've broken the seal. You've popped the cherry. You're already fucked. Just go through with it now. Sorry, I know I've been just kind of word vomiting on you, but that's my thoughts on this.
Well,
Something's coming and it ain't good for you and me.
that's particularly interesting, but we're obligated because, we're on the air. We're obligated to raise the idea that the aliens are actually, this is all a setup for actually meeting the aliens, right? I mean, that would be unexpected. And I'm skeptical of that, but not that the aliens exist, because my theory is they're using their visits here for their own entertainment channel. Like in other words, we are channel 733, and the Earthlings are just incredibly stupid and amusing. It's like, what are they going to come up with next?
Yeah.
So they don't really want to reveal themselves because then that would mess up the whole entertainment value, you
Yeah.
know? Now that I know that sounds kind of, that is a humor kind of take on it, but how do we know that's not the actual case? You know,
Yeah.
that we're here as entertainment value, and that it's against their prime directive to come and intervene in our craziness.
I mean, do you even want to meet the ones that are coming to meet us? Right? I mean, like those uncontacted tribes out in like, the middle of the Pacific Ocean, where it's an island that's like 3 acres and it's just 900 trillion miles from the nearest, you know, continent. And they've been uncontacted since 50,000 years and they have loincloths. And it's like, yeah, they're cannibals and just fucking leave them be. Right? We send a drone from a distance and we watch. Those are the respectful ones, right? Some
Yeah.
people go fuck with them the helicopters get close and they shoot bows and arrows at them, and you just have bows and arrows made of like leather and bamboo, and it's hitting like a Black Hawk helicopter, and it's like, look at these idiots. And then there are the people that go and physically try to meet them, and those are people that are bringing a Bible or a Quran because they're trying to save your soul. They have
That's right.
nothing better to do. It's 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 the annoying Mormons showing up to your door, right? Are the Mormons the one that go door to door?
They can.
Who are the ones that
They
go door
used
to door?
to two nice guys in ties and stuff, and the Jehovah's Witnesses still
Jehovah's
do.
Witnesses.
Yeah.
Do you really want to meet a
So
Jehovah's Witness? Like,
so you're saying the aliens would be basically like bringing
whoever's
their
meeting
religion
us
to us.
has nothing better to do. It's either someone to convert us, and it's just they're a loser. Like, dude, fuck off. Like, you do you. Like, I mean, I don't want to party with you. I want to go party with you. Let's go to the bars and try to pick up chicks. Not the guys on bicycles with tucked in khakis. Like, it's you do you, but like you're not. I'm not inviting you to the party. Right? It's them. It's an asshole. That's just, oh, I'm not hitting you. I'm not hitting you. Right? Or it's in the history of this planet, the people that always have the most advanced technology, be it the CIA now or the Queen's Navy then, they're always the worst people. They're coming to genocide you and take everything you have, whether you got rubber or bananas or oil. Whoever reaches you is the deepest, darkest military industrial complex. So they're annoying. They're either trying to convert us or they are here to turn us into pudding. So, like, I don't understand how this could be good.
Well, it will be exciting though, as you say. I would convert to the religion, sure, under the usual things. Would you like this, blade through your, you know, disconnecting your head from your body, or would you like to convert to my religion? Hey,
Eh,
I'm open to it. Uh, I always said I was open-minded. Well, then there's the famous episode of Twilight Zone, To Serve Humans, right? Where there's the book that the aliens bring and to describe how wonderful it is, the near heaven that they're going to take you to, because we're here to serve humans. And then, you know, everybody knows, and the guy that's been trying to escape from the alien spaceship, it says it's a cookbook.
it's a
Um,
cookbook.
a cookbook.
Oh
Yeah, in
God, to
other
serve
words,
humans. All right.
yeah, so that's the classic. To serve humans is the cookbook. They're, so and to your point, that whoever gets here is probably not the warm and fuzzy natives, in the loincloths.
Yeah. And
It-
so
yeah.
those are just explanations of who the aliens are. And that is, if the aliens are real, that's best case scenario. Because if they're not real and this is all a lie, the lie is for nothing good. So, like, maybe I'm just being cynical, but it's either a lie from our own people and we know who they are, or they are aliens, in which case they're either losers or they're coming here to eat us. Maybe, I guess technically you could jump a Jehovah's Witness. They show up, you can kick their ass, right? They probably got a couple bucks on them, right? You maybe take their phone. Maybe we could just beat up the aliens. Maybe we could just beat the shit out of them and take their craft.
Yeah, that's of course the classic H.G. Wells, right? They come, they kick our ass with their technology, but our bacteria and viruses get them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
hey,
But what do you
maybe
think
we
it,
can.
so like all like comical explanations aside, what do you think? Why is this happening now? I mean, I know the meme is like, oh, they're Hunter Biden, they got to get him out of the news. It's like, no, dude, they're playing the alien card. This is the biggest card. This has been hypothesized in conspiracy circles for decades of like, this
Yeah.
is royal flush. This is four aces. There's nowhere to go from here. Why are they doing that?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, this is huge to have a congressional hearing
Yeah.
where a guy that looks, credible says, yeah, we got the bodies on ice, and you go, well, if he's lying, he's really good at it, and in a, what's the motivation for that setup, But then, and the release of all these Navy tapes, that was like, I don't know, a year or two ago, that was in the New York Times or whatever, right? Hey,
Mm-hmm.
they suddenly are releasing these videos of stuff. And so why? Yeah. And so, as you say, where is the explanation that's going to be good for humanity? And then you end up being in like a science fiction story where the aliens are actually kindly, kindly creatures with godlike powers who are here to save us from ourselves, right?
Yeah.
And then it's like, other than that, what are the good things? Like how's this so they bagged some technology off the spacecraft, and then why isn't that in my toaster?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe there's a positive outcome. I had on here like a week or two ago my buddy Prince from Kosovo, and I mean, he's just the embodiment of the American dream. Like I met him, he was working on like a student visa or something, and he and I worked at a bar like almost 10 years ago. And he's like since got his green card and then citizenship, and he's married, and he like owns a business, and he's a physical therapist. I mean, truly, it's just the embodiment of the American dream, from like barely speaking English to like has his own place in New York, like doing great. But he's the same age as me, and he grew up in Kosovo, and like he remembers like he remembers like Slobodan Milosevic and like cultural cleansing, and like his dad was a journalist, and they like broke his dad's arms and legs and like left him to die. He survived, but like um and then he remembers like American Marines coming into like the town and like posting up outside of like civilian houses so that the cleansing would stop, right? And this sounds obviously like some propaganda story, and it's all right. Well, shut up, you dirty commie. This is what happened. This is just what happened. I'm not saying propaganda doesn't exist, but this is what happened. And he talks about like the NATO bombing, and you know, like how he's like to this day, he's like America. He's like, yeah, we love them beyond like words. He's like, because they are this technologically superior force, and they came, and sure, did we have our own motives? I'm sure we did. No wars without it. But he's like, I don't care what those were. He's like, he's like, I don't care. Bill Clinton gets blowjob. He talks about it, and and then put yourself in his shoes. Why would you care? You don't give a shit about who did this or what, or this godlike power with stealth bombers came and bombed the living shit out of the guy, killing all of your relatives. And the bill was $0. How do you not love them? And he comes here and he's like, America has its flaws, but it's still utopia. Maybe we're about to witness that. Maybe it will be something that we can't recognize. And in 100 years, there'll be a bunch of ungrateful kids like, the aliens suck. And you'll have one grandpa that will be like, you shut your fucking mouth. My father's rolling in his grave. You know, there'll be someone that still stands for the Pledge of Allegiance to the aliens and be like, you kids have no idea what you have. Back then we used to have death and, malnourishment and drug cartels. And then the aliens came and gave us free energy and life extent. Who knows? I don't know. I mean, I have no idea.
Yeah. Yeah. It is fascinating though that, as you say, something that's been out there bubbling, beneath the surface, and lots of theories and people researching it, et cetera, but all dismissed and marginalized. And now suddenly it's in front of Congress, and the New York Times is posting, clips from, F-18s. Um, what is it setting us up for? And you've outlined the cases. And so you go, okay, so if we follow each of those, it's like, where's the evidence that we need to look for going forward? Like, what's going to sort of like narrow the pathways to like
Hmm.
one or the other of the options? And I like the idea of something positive happening,
Sure, sure.
and uh, but the track record of our government and all governments actually is like not extremely conducive. Doesn't make us feel warm and fuzzy about the options. I'll give you an example that just struck me. I saw it on Twitter a couple days ago. In China, then there's some security cameras everywhere, right? Well, on the freeway, if you were caught speeding by the
I saw
camera, then
that. Saw that video.
yeah, it gets your license plate, and then your account is debited the fine instantly, and then your social credit score is dinged too. And it's all like, wow, this is just like Orwell has
Yeah.
come to life. And so you go, well, will the alien technology be able to block Big Brother? That would be useful, the zone of silence.
It would have to be a usurping of it, right?
Yeah,
It'll be like, again, let's use Prince as an example. And the reason I'm using Prince is because that's someone I know personally and I've like
right.
watched his journey. So there's no like it's not being filtered through history books and nine layers of he said, she said. It's like it's right there, right?
Yeah,
What that is was just a technological overpowering and obliteration of the quote unquote bad guy. So it would be
yeah.
something where like could they block Big Brother? It would be something that we maybe can't like wrap our heads around. It would be like no, it wouldn't block it, but it would be a way that you don't need it. It would be like a form of the equivalent of like a nuclear reactor in every home, where it's like and like your own, atomic 3D printer. And it'd be like, no, you can't stop Big Brother, but you create your own power. You can print fruits and vegetables and medicine, and you don't have to work anymore. So it's like, yeah, I don't really care what Big Brother's doing. Does that make sense? It'd be like, it's like, no,
Yeah.
we're never going to stop the YouTube censorship, but you have Peter Thiel investing $1 billion in Rumble, and then you create Rumble, and like YouTube's still going to be YouTube, but like I just don't think about YouTube. I'm just like, yeah, they're still whatever. You just move somewhere else. It would be something like that.
I really like that line of thinking, Tommy, and it's kind of like I've been thinking about, and maybe you think about your brand. We've had a few emails
Mm-hmm.
discussing, like the fact that we all have some sort of thing. Then you can call it a brand, you can call it a mission statement, you can call it an elevator speech, something, that sort of motivates us, that creates a core that kind of explains why we're doing what we're doing. And for me, I was thinking the system we have now, the global economy, whatever you want to call it, it severs a lot of the human connections that between nature and humans that are essential to like a normal, like healthy human existence, human life. And then when those are severed, then we search around for something else, and we end up getting addicted to meds or mobile phones, and we're actually deranged because we've lost these core connections. And so what you're describing is similar to that, in that once you don't need the system, once you kind of like divorce yourself or let go of or detach yourself from the global economy, in at least its worst elements, and then you're kind of like you're creating an alternative world for yourself that's embedded in the one that everyone else is living in, but you're not really buying into the values and the systems. You've created your own little system, and that just and as you say, like Rumble is a different um, system. And there's lots of other things. Like if you go and buy, say you go buy a side of beef from somebody that actually has a ranch, then you're bypassing the whole corporate, global food chain,
Yeah.
you know? And that's an example to me. And like one of my things is always, I think we're heading into an era of relocalization. And a
Yeah.
lot of people see that, where it's like, just get the stuff locally. Eat what grows close to you, even if it's not your favorite things. It's still like, hey, you can actually go meet the person that raised this or bake the bread or whatever. And that I think reconnects us in very positive ways. And so just like being able to post something on Rumble and not being worried about getting demonetized or banned, that's a very positive feeling.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah. And it's, you didn't usurp YouTube. You
Yeah,
didn't overthrow
right.
it. You just let it die in the vine. It's just
Yeah,
atrophying, right? They're just losing people and creators left and right. And there's no great, tear down this wall. There's no great like you over it's just like it just kind of fizzles out into just a shithole.
yeah.
That
It's kind of like the mall. The mall.
Yeah,
Everybody's the mall.
yeah.
The mall dies.
It wasn't a
It's
hostile takeover. It was just the advent of
yeah,
the internet and then online shopping and increase in just shipping efficiency and third party carriers and AI. And then you look back and go, when did malls die? And no one could tell you. They just did,
right.
right?
Yeah,
It'll be
that's
something
right.
like that.
Yeah, and to your point, the thing about YouTube and the all the big tech and all the media that we're talking about, it's all homogenized. That's what is really striking is how, the messages, the so-called opposing views, they're as homogenized as the dominant perspective, and so then you have to go to some place that's whatever the Wild West is left on the internet to find people who actually think things through for themselves and that it's not homogenized. And, that was the thing about malls and Walmart and everything else. It's like our whole experience gets homogenized and it's all like, wow, we're just living in this weird disconnected world where you don't know anybody that actually does anything real. You just go shopping, and
Yeah.
it's all like, well, who made this stuff? Does anybody know how to fix this stuff? No, we just know how to take it to the landfill, throw it away
Yeah.
because it's made out of components from, around the world and blah, blah, blah. And so it's like trying to reconnect with real life is kind of like, to me, what you're talking about, like reconnecting to systems that if we don't control it, at least it allows us to operate, relatively freely within it.
Yeah. It's like I think that's why, and it's talking about like Prince's upbringing,
Yeah,
and then what I'm about to say is it's very clearly like I have it good. So like I am aware of that. But for the point I'm going to make is like having grown up in suburbia, right? Which again, most people would in the history of this planet would drag their balls over broken glass for. I get it. But just kind of growing up in suburbia and going to private Catholic school and you know like the adventure is the mall and it's just like an air conditioned sterile, you buy a thing and it's whatever, and it's all great and good, but there's no adventure. I think that's why the movie Office Space, like I identified with that so strongly in like seventh grade or something, right? Because it's just this guy that's just like, dude, fuck all of this, right? They like destroy the printer, and it's like I fucking hate Mondays. I hate you. Like you suck. You suck. And it was just like a spark of something. And I think that's, yeah, if you're just watching the same news, if you just turn on the same, there's 19 nightly shows, but they're all the same fucking thing. It's a big band and it pans to a guy in a black suit and a black tie with a white shirt and a couple witty one-liners that have been screened before a focus group and a bunch of people on Valium and Zoloft in the crowd just clapping their hands together like brain dead sea lions, and you're like, this can't be it, man, right? And so then like you you tune on to us, and it's like you and I are on like opposite sides of the world. What are we, 40 years apart? And we're
Yeah.
talking about like, are the aliens gonna come and fuck us in the ass? Or are they gonna give us clean energy? And if you're someone that's just been in this like trance of like Jibby Kibble, go to bed, wake up, go to the office, go to the sports ball game, and then you listen to this, it kind of, you're like, what is that? And it might be that you hate it, but hating something is still a feeling, right? It's like the misconception people have about depression. You think depression's sadness. Depression isn't sadness. Sadness sucks, but depression isn't sadness. Depression is numbness. It is a lack of feeling, right? Positivity and happiness, or fear of like, fuck, how am I going to make this thing? I can't believe I failed that test. Like, those aren't good feelings, but they're still feelings. Depression is just void. You're in a pool of Novocaine and there's no color. That sucks. So even if you're like hate watching me, fucking white guy, blue eyes, front of an American flag, this neo-Nazi fuck, at least you're feeling something. At least you get up and punch something. It feels good, right? You know, and instead of thinking about going to the strip mall, you're like, I fucking hate that guy. You're welcome. You're feeling something, right? So that's where I think we're heading, is just to feel something, anything. I think that's what people want. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would call that like authenticity or something, like you have an authentic feeling, or you have a like facsimile, something that's been, and that's why we all love movies and watch TV, right? You have a fabricated, you know, emotion, because here's the hero and the heroine, here's the bad guy, and so on, the hero's journey, we're playing out
Yeah.
these mythologies. And so they are very satisfying because they tap into our collective unconscious or whatever, that we can all relate to that. We're social animals, here's the hero or heroine, the bad guy, the hero's journey, etc. And we can see that our own life as a hero's journey, right? Or heroine's journey. Like, here's our obstacles, and the challenges, and you know, we got kicked in the teeth, and we got to stand back up, et cetera, et cetera. But so there's like a reflection of authenticity there, but it's like it's not real if it's all fabricated, and that's kind of what I hear you saying, like the news is all shaped, it's all designed to generate emotions and then come to a conclusion, right? Like, we're telling you this because we need you to agree to this so that you will comply, you'll become complicit or apathetic, and just, and agree with this, that it's us versus them, or whatever the ploy is, right? Or here's the bad news, and we're going to end with kittens and puppies, so it's all
Yeah.
good, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't even know which one you want. Like, do you want Brave New World? Just take the Soma and just roll around in bliss? I mean, is that bad? Like, or do you still yearn for something deeper? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, even just seeing like the alien news, I feel nothing. And I love you. I love aliens. I've read every book there is. And now I'm like watching a congressional, like the unthinkable. It's like the thing you only see in movies. The guys
Yeah.
at the podium and flanked by generals. It's like that guy was giving that testimony, and they pan to the seats, and you see George Knapp, who's friends with Bob Lazar, and next to him is Clapper, the former like head of DNI or something. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh shit. And there was like a 60-second clip on Twitter. I didn't even make it through it. I was like, yeah, whatever. Like, maybe I'm just depressed. I don't know. Like, there's nothing. I felt nothing. I was like, yeah, it's a fucking whatever.
Yeah, it didn't it struck you as like um the show, the parade, that
Yeah.
staged in some way. In other words, it wasn't it somehow it just didn't come across as authentic.
Because ultimately what it was is it was just a guy speaking into a microphone.
Yeah,
That's all it was. That's all it
yeah.
was. I can sit here and tell you like, so I didn't want to tell anybody this, but I actually have a pet dragon. So it's sitting in my closet. It's made of pure uranium and it travels through time. People are like, "Oh fuck, did you hear about Tommy, dude?" Someone's gonna be like, it, "All he just said that. He didn't show it to you, right?" So it's like,
Yeah.
I gotta, they gotta. That's not the UFO disclosure I want. The UFO disclosure I want is like the emergency broadcast warning comes on, and it's like a pale looking head of an agency you've never heard of before. And you see the president kind of introduce him, and the president is clearly like deferring to them. And you're like, who is this power figure? And he comes on just like the president's like pale and clammy, but this guy comes on just like cold, emotionless. And it's like, it just immediately just breaks you into like a long history. It's like the American people deserve to know. And it's just like pictures of like, Neil Armstrong next to like a crashed craft on the far side of the moon. And it's like, the last 100 years has all been like major events. It's like the reason we invaded Vietnam was to recover a fucking UFO or something. And all right. And like COVID was actually a way to, that was a false flag so we could vaccinate the world against a potential exobiology virus. Like that's what I want. Not this milk toast. Yeah, there are craft. There are biologics in there. Yippity doo What the fuck? No, I want to like Miami needs to get vaporized. You know, I want that's what I want. I want to see like the convoys of the National Guard in the street, right? Curfew mandated by M60. Like that's what I want. But maybe this is a personal problem. Maybe everyone else is like, that was the best, most frictionless disclosure ever. It was just a passing blurb in the news. Maybe I'm just projecting my own psychosis here.
No, I think you're right. I mean, in other words, like, why don't you take us to the lab? In other words,
Yeah,
show us something.
yeah, yeah. Show us the Area 51. Show us some like grainy video, right?
Yeah. Or
That's
better yet, show us the coffin, show us the slab,
yeah,
here it is.
yeah. Or something really wild would be like have Putin, Xi, and Biden all walk out together and be like, this is not a time for nationalism. This is a time. You're like, oh fuck, right? You have like Zelensky and Putin next to each other, and it's just like you have like I don't know, like some imam from Iran and like Bibi Netanyahu and like Palestine and Israel, like, yo, we gotta cease fire this shit. That and then you're like, oh, what is this shit? Right? That's what I want to see. But even that, are we not just coming full circle to like entertainment? Have we, it's like people that just watch too much porn and it's like, dude, that's not what real sex life is. Have I just been desensitized to reality to where I want something so superficial and fantastic that I can't just take this at its face value?
That's a very I love that wormhole you just opened because that really kind of gets to me the core of like a question I always ask is why are people so deranged? Like, I mean, in other words, it's like the world is like, I mean, so many people are losing their grip on whatever we want to call reality. They're acting out. They're very ill, they're physically or mentally ill. They're addicted to meds or some, like you said, porn. And you can say, well, this is just normal human behavior. And it's all like, well, sure, on the margins, but it's like, what happens when whole societies are acting deranged, right? And you go, well, we must have lost touch with something fundamental. And so we tell ourselves, no, no, this is the best possible world, because I can buy anything from, from the world and et cetera, et cetera. But we've lost touch with something that kept us grounded, and you go, well, what is that? And you go, well, how about those studies or these surveys that show that tons of people, um, don't have any real friends, like the loneliness thing is off the charts. And um, nobody even knows what community is because they don't go to church, they don't have a bowling league. I mean, all that stuff. Their community is like who's on their mobile phone, right? And how many likes I got, and that. So we're at this level where this all this stuff has been detached from, like the core of human life. And like what I like to think about is like, okay, so what is this thing about human life? What is the core? Well, it's like the way that we were selected by, nature to live over the last like several 100,000 years, right? And so we lived in small groups, and yeah, we had our gossip and conflicts and stuff, but we had to work it out because, if somebody was really bad, we'd kick them out, and then they were on their own in nature, and they would not live too long, in that that kind of, what are you going to eat today?
Yeah.
So, and then we were connected to the planet, the Earth, and the weather and stuff. We were looking for signs of what was going to happen. We were connected to like where are we going to get our food? We either have to grow it, we have to find it, we have to find it and kill it. We have to milk it. I mean, it's like so we had these connections to the world and to each other that now we just like, no, we're all alone. We just got our cell phones and we're watching our entertainment and we're addicted to gaming or, porn or whatever the hell we're addicted to. And it's all like, well, wait a minute, haven't we lost something vital here? And so I think like we don't even recognize what we've lost because that's been marginalized. Like you're some kind of like lunatic to say that this isn't the best possible world.
Yeah. Maybe the cycle of tough times create tough men create good times create weak men create tough times. Maybe that's
Yeah.
not a bad thing.
No.
Maybe it's like on the whole it moves. If you look back century and millennia, clearly like technologically we're progressing and socially we
Yeah.
are. But like maybe it's good. Maybe you reach the point of like everything's fine. There's no problems. I can order whatever I want from Amazon, but you just feel nothing. Maybe you need like a Great Depression. Maybe you need like a Pearl Harbor and you just go get blown up on a beach somewhere and it's so bad that you're like, dude, fuck this. And it's just requires everything. And then everyone just starts taking the smallest little victories as just like heaven. Like come back from World War II and it's like a GI Bill. You get like 1,000 square foot house in New York and a washing machine, and you're like, this is great. This is just fucking the best. I'm not getting shot at in Iwo Jima. And then you do that, and then that generation does great shit, and then the generation after that doesn't respect it, so they all take a bunch of acid, and then you get some cool music, and then that generation raises my generation, and we're all miserable. So maybe we just need to like maybe we're directly on path with like failing banks and heading towards war. Maybe this is just like the natural course. It's just like it's 100-year long heartbeat. And it's like, yeah, everything's good and sterile and boring. It's time for war with China, baby. Like maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I'm a big cycles fan. A lot of people have talked about 50-year cycles,
Mhm.
100-year cycles, 250, you name it. There's solar cycles, sun cycles, cycles of human history. So yeah, I think you're right. And you've kind of described it that you get too comfortable and you focus only on comfort and convenience, your sense of meaning and purpose vanish. And so I read something recently where a lot of people just vanish, they disappear. Now they might have been kidnapped and murdered, or they might have just vanished into some backwoods place, or they might have purposely decided to, be a ghost, to start a new life. But for whatever reason, they vanished without informing their family and friends. And so this one father said, yeah, his son, who was a vet, was seen in some kind of like hippie encampment. And the guy said, the father said, yeah, I went to talk to those people. There's a lot of schizophrenics there, but they wanted to feel part of something larger than themselves. And I thought, bingo, that is an encapsulation of what's been lost. Kind of very few people feel part of something larger than themselves in a positive way, like,
Yeah.
right? Because that's what you're talking about. That the World War II era that everyone's nostalgic about was, hey, we all got to work together here, set aside our differences because this is an existential threat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of like what you were referring to. If the aliens are in fact, bringing the bioweapons, et cetera, then that's when you get Xi, Putin, and Biden on stage. It's like, hey, we got to set aside our differences, and everyone would love that sense of being part of something larger than themselves, because I think that's part of our genetic heritage. We're all in we do have an idealistic element, and if you can't be part of something larger than yourself, then you're just yourself, and then you end up feeling lonely or lost, or you're purposeless. You realize your life has no meaning because what, trying to get richer? What for?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what are you going to do with $1 million that you can't do with 100,000 or 10,000? I mean, what exactly is so damn important? And then you go, well, what's important is everything I threw away to get this money.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe alien disclosure is just a couple people at the highest rungs of secret power. Maybe they're just kind of depressed. And they're just like, fuck it, let's feel something. Like, we can't put this back in the bag once we open this up. Maybe they just missed the high of like scrambling to cover something up. They're like, do you remember how alive we felt when we had to try to convince the American people that like a lone shooter killed JFK? Like, yeah, you woke up with purpose. You're like, if they fucking find out, they're gonna hang us, right? Maybe
Yeah.
Dick Cheney did 9/11 because he just wanted to feel something. He's like, I just want to cover it up, convince everyone it was just a couple of guys from a cave, took on $1 trillion defense network. It's self-sabotage. So there's just some people in the Illuminati that are like, we've done everything. Like, what if we just like let the UFO cat out of the bag? And then
Just
like
to see what happens. Yeah.
just to real like you want to let it out because you're not in control of it, right? If I go take a cold shower, I can turn the cold water on, but at any moment I can turn it off, right?
Yeah.
It's more of a rush when you jump into a cold lake because you're like, I got to fucking get out of this now, right? But you can't turn it off. You got to find a way out. And, it's maybe that's what it is. There's just some secret cabal of trillionaires that are just so bored. They've
I
done
like that.
they own a million Bugattis. They've, covertly and quietly thrown over every government on the planet. And they're just like, I have everything. I have classified documents that I'm just bored of. You know, they've personally watched, different angles of JFK getting shot. And they're like, yeah, I know that was my dad. Like, whatever. Like they've been to the Area 51 freezers and like talked to the aliens. Probably fucked an alien. Like, they've done everything. And they're probably just like, man, what if we just release this out into the wild? And like once we put it out, we can't take it back. So they're just gonna do like a data dump on like Twitter or something of
I
just
like
like
that line of thinking. Yeah. Because then it's a challenge. Hey, let's see what happens. And then we'll try to control everything and it'll be great.
we'll try to re
Yeah.
regain control and then they can feel alive again.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah,
It's I like it, self-sabotage. It's kind of like burning all your money so you can start over and say that, remember the thrill when I was
Just
dead
the
broke and I
thrill
had
of
to
the
start over?
chase.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what the war in Ukraine is about. Everyone's like, what's the point of this? And you just have some generals that are like, I just want to feel something. It's actually a love letter to Russia. It's like, remember when we used to hate each other and we used to just want to nuke each other? That's what we're doing. I'm making you wear out all of your traditional armaments. Then you're going to have to try to nuke us. Do you remember feeling alive? Like, that's what it is. Maybe that's why we're letting China get more powerful. It's because like the military elite in this country are so bored of bombing farmers. They're like, I want a real monster. So that's why we let them steal our tech. We're like,
Yeah,
I
that's
want them
right.
to get stronger. Let them build a couple F-35s. I want a real fight.
Yeah, we need a real existential challenge or threat. Yeah, and that goes back to the aliens. And of course, that's also AI too.
Yeah.
We're bored, so let's just let this AI thing out into the wild, see what
Out of the
happens.
bag. Fuck it.
Yeah, and then if it becomes an existential threat, good. Then we finally have something to
I
do
want to
again.
feel something. Yeah. Get drunk and like text the girl you have a crush on just to feel something. Just send the immediate feeling of sending it and going, fuck. That's a great feeling. It's terrifying, but you're like, that's yeah. I remember I would do that in college, and I can do it because the statute of limitations are over. But like sometimes we just get fucked up when we go to the bar, and I'll be like, we've just gone to that bar a million times. We've flirted with the same girls a million times. So we'd be walking home from the bar, and I would just pull a mailbox out of the ground and then just walk a mile with it. And I'll be like, my fingerprints are on this. This is a felony. And then I would just throw it into the woods. And then I'd wake up the next morning in like a cold sweat. And like, I was like, fuck, I hope I don't get caught. And then I remember I'd convince my friends to do it with me. I'd be like, steal some mailboxes. There were some times in UGA, man, where like we'd legit steal some mailboxes and it was like burying a body. We would like throw it up in the attic and cover it in insulation. And like, fuck, man. If I get a felony, I can't go to law school or something. But like very soon, my friends would be like, you'd be at a bar surrounded by beautiful women and be like, dude, fuck this shit. Let's go steal a mailbox. I might like we'd go and like put like rocks on train tracks and shit. We'd be like, let's try to derail a train, like retarded shit, but it was just to feel something. And it's terrible, you know? No, the mailbox, that's a victimless crime. Who gives a shit? But like, I get it. Maybe that's what this is like, let's go release COVID. Let's just see what happens. Why not? I think that's what everyone's realizing is like Trump was chaotic, but like at least you felt something. They're burning cities down, right? They're sending in the National Guard. There's a bioweapon afoot. Like, but it was great. Now it's like, yeah, I get it. The FBI is politicized and they're fucking whatever. This isn't interesting. Drag queens in front
No,
of kids.
you're
This is
right.
boring, man.
It's totally boring. A corrupt institution, it's
Yeah, it's
self-serving.
the
Yeah.
same. Yeah, it's a regime. Like, give me something new. I want Trump talking shit to Kim Jong Un from Twitter. That was premium content. My big red button's bigger than his. That was great. You saw people completely just become unhinged. Or you have Kathy Griffin holding a decapitated Trump head. People went insane. Like, that's great. And then, like, the other half of the country believed Trump was like fighting an underground war against satanic pedophiles. Like, that was great. This shit's so boring now,
I
right?
think you're onto something. Yeah, and that's the whole thing. This UFO hearing was boring.
Yeah.
That was the problem. It was
2020,
supposed to be exciting, but it was all like, yeah.
2020 is like Trump drone Soleimani. And I was like, fuck, are we going to World War III? And then like Kobe died, and everyone's like, what was that? And then COVID came, and it was like, this can't get crazier. And then like Derek Chauvin kneels on George Floyd's neck, and it's like, oh shit. and then like a stolen election, and then like an insurrection. Like that was great. That was a that was fantastic.
You
Now
know,
it's
you're
just
really
like
onto something, man.
what are we? You have Biden and his son's corrupt. Like
Boring,
who
totally
gives a shit? Yeah,
boring.
yeah. The president's son does drugs. What are you surprised?
Yeah. I mean, hookers and blow. I mean, it's
Oh
like,
yeah,
okay,
how
yeah.
they know this not even because everyone's like I would do that too. That's not. And it's like wait, there's a bioweapon and Trump's Trump's like Trump's saying it's a China virus. Like that's some fucking good content. That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. It's just been too homogenized. And even the, like you said, I think the big takeaway for me in your in what you've described is even the disclosures that are supposed to be mind-blowing are in fact homogenized and sort of boring. I mean, that's really a statement. I mean, here we are talking about UFOs, and it's this
A
totally
bo
boring
a
thing.
boring alien disclosure. Like
Yeah,
like I didn't even normally when I there's like a big thing gets in the news, I'll try to do like a topical episode just to like grow the podcast. But if I can get like an expert, right? So
yeah.
like LeBron James's son having like cardiac arrest. I was like, well, I'm friends with Dr. McCullough. So I did that episode yesterday. You put it together quickly and it's like and I was like going to bed last night and I realized I was like, I haven't even had it's not that I had the thought and decided against it. I hadn't even had the thought of like, I gotta do a UFO disclosure episode. I was just like, yeah, no, it's fucking gay. Like, it's just stupid.
We'll definitely put aliens in the title of this episode because we did talk about the aliens. The aliens are boring. How about that for a title?
They
We've made
are
the aliens boring.
how can this realistically I mean, is the only thing war? Because that's also kind of like a bad you don't actually want war. You don't actually want because war
No.
between China and the United that would be I mean, if not apocalyptic, it would be damn near it, right?
Yeah. Right. No, you don't want that because somebody will, you know, somebody will use a nuke and then
It'll be the
voila.
end. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. And so, yeah, unless the aliens have like a shield that they're gonna, blow up all the ICBMs, once they get to, 20,000 feet, that would be great. But I mean, I don't think we can count on that, you know.
Would it be great? Or do you think we'd be sitting here going, we can't even have a fucking world war anymore? I was kissing my mom goodbye. It's the end. You see the lights rising as ICBMs take off and they all fizzle out. Oh fuck this. You'd have people like, man, I ran through the street naked. Now I'm so fucking embarrassed. I gotta see these people tomorrow. You're like, oh fuck. I told my wife
Oh,
I'm gay and now there's no ICBM inbound. I have to go to
yeah,
work on Monday. Like, so do we even want that? That's kind of boring.
yeah,
What do
yeah.
we need then?
The
what can
starvation is good. I mean, definitely a Great Depression where people, have a hard, they can't maintain the so-called good life, and then that they're under pressure. There's obstacles. There's a challenge. As you say, it's kind of like you go broke and you go, well, now I've got to scrimp and save. I've got to come up with some new way. I mean, then yeah, like you said, the challenge is on. So. And maybe people would start having value and they'd see value in other people other than just looking at everybody else as an obstacle.
yeah.
Yeah. And they'd want to be part of something bigger than themselves again, instead of just like, you know, the whole point of my life is to have the channel of me, like how many likes did I get on Instagram, etc. So yeah, I think you're right. And we were hoping, I mean, maybe I was hoping the aliens would provide that or the disclosure, but it was too boring. So we need like something real, like I'm hungry and the shelves are empty. So now what?
Yeah. I mean, would the aliens just make it even worse? It's like,
Well, yeah, we could almost hope so.
yeah, right. But I mean,
It
it's
wouldn't
like,
be boring.
well, it's like, it's like the alcoholic, like that needs more alcohol to get the same effect. And then, but now you're
Yeah.
even deeper in the hole. So it's like the aliens would show up and it would be exciting and new. They land on the White House lawn and give us, free energy and the cure to cancer. But that would then just eventually make the situation we're in now even worse. You'd have even less problems. Be like, there's not even resource scarcity anymore. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
maybe we just
Well,
need a nuclear war to just wipe the slate clean.
well, how about this? How about if there's competing alien empires and they've chosen Earth for, kind of like that they chose an anthill to fight over or, and so that would be entertaining because we wouldn't really be able to control the outcome. That we are just bystanders or, ants in the anthill. So that could provide an existential uh, challenge or an unknown. Maybe that's what we're missing. It's
Hmm.
all too predictable. And that's what's wrong with the media. There's nothing, everything has been homogenized and it's all reduced to this sort of boring thing we've seen before.
Honestly, I think we'd almost need something like biblical. If you're just like, dude, holy shit, demons are real. There's an actual like 12-foot tall goat headed monster, and then some like Saint Michael the Archangel comes down from heaven, and it just completely voids all traditional weapons. Right? They're just covered in a force field or something. That would be wild. And you'd be like, holy shit. You're like, the Bible's real. Holy fuck, right? And there'd actually
Yeah.
be like great serpents and evil, and that would
Yeah.
be wild.
All the all the all the elements of the Bible that have been banned and deleted over the centuries
Yeah.
as they're the ones that are filled with this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. The deleted biblical accounts are in fact the ones that are real.
Yeah. We need something like that
Oh,
to happen, or like, yeah, we need like, I don't know, like the three pyramids just start beaming lights directly into the sky. And it's like, what the fuck is that? You know?
yeah, and I have to say it's more likely that everything will just slowly decay and unravel and it'll be, it's kind of like, well, there'll be no drama. It'll just there won't be anything really exciting. And that might be again, that'll be boring too.
Maybe we are just gearing up for space exploration. We're just getting cabin fever. And all of a sudden it's gonna be like, do you want to take this rocket to Mars? You might die on the way there. And then if you get there, then the work begins. You'd be like, well, that would be tough. Like, there's no backup. That might start to make you feel alive again.
Yeah, I agree. And or you could go to that remote island you talked about and try to sell them life insurance, to the cannibals. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't be
Introduce.
yeah. No, you'd see him running and then you just start shooting him. You'd be like, wait, I forgot I have a gun. Fuck these people. I don't know.
All right. Well,
I don't know where we got with this. We've oscillated between total despair and excitement. Honestly, this is what I think would fix it. Something goes wrong at the NSA, and every file ever, every text, every phone call, every redacted dossier from the 30s online from every intelligence agency in the world. Because at least that's an event horizon. Would there be war? Would there just be the best memes ever? You would be so consumed with it. The first thing people would be doing is like hitting Control F. It'd be like JFK, Roswell, 9/11, right? But then they'd start moving into others. We'd start finding conspiracies we didn't even know existed, right? We know about those. There's
Right.
probably whole fucking stories and trilogies of stuff we didn't even know happened. That's, I think, probably the best thing you could do. Dump everything online. That would be like if the entire world took a hit of acid. That's what it would be.
I like that idea, and let's hope that somebody in the power chain decides that they're bored enough that they'll go ahead and let that out into the wild, you know? Or someone says, "Hey, it's time the American public knows," you know? Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah, because it's a boring dystopia.
Yeah, and that's why it's dystopian partly. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's lacking obstacles, challenges, existential threats, other than nuclear war, and we've had that for so long that, we've habituated to that too.
yeah, you're like,
Yeah.
I get it. It's a mushroom cloud, whatever. Yeah, yeah. The air rates. Yeah, fuck off. Like, who
Yeah.
knows? Maybe this is just both of us yearning to be children again, where it's all exciting and unknown.
Yeah, that's certainly part of human nature. That's why we say, yeah, this valley's okay, but like, why don't we walk up there and see what's over the mountain? And so people, like you said, there's some people that say, that means Mars. You can also, in my view, you could also say, well, what if we were trying to go back to like something that was more authentic, Then you go, well, that's a voyage that's, maybe sounds boring, but exciting on an individual level because, you're getting something new in your life that was lacking or had been lost. So yeah, yeah. I like this line of thinking though. We crave a real challenge, something authentic, real relationships, a real existential situation that we really got to do it right and we need help.
Yeah,
So yeah,
I
that's
don't
right.
know. All right, man. Let's wrap this one
All
up
right.
then. I don't know where
Yep.
we went. I don't know what we did. I'm not sure if anyone's gonna get anything. We just probably just sent a bunch of people into spiraling depression. But
No, I think it's worth I think it's totally a good discussion. Is the whole alien thing now boring? Has it been homogenized to the point that we've lost interest? And that's like a symptom of a system that needs like authenticity. So
yeah,
that'd be my summary.
I think we need the aliens to come here and be like, "Oh, thank God we found you guys," and us be like, "What?" And then being like, "Fucking, thank God we met y'all. We're saved." We're like, "What? Oh shit!" Like, you guys are humans. You guys are that shining light on the hill. We were told if we got here, it'll be better. We'd be like, "Oh fuck, no, 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 no. We were waiting for y'all." Yeah, I don't know. All right,
I
dude.
like that line of thinking. Okay, man, good discussion. Maybe no
who
one will listen to us, but hey,
who gives a shit? All right, dude. I'll email this to you. Thanks so much, guys.
well,
Please go check out his blog. Till next time, man.